I'm here with Don Tapscott, who is the CEO of Tapscott Group, and is a co-author of Wikinomics and co-author of Microeconomics, one of the world's leading authorities on innovation media and the economics and social media technology. And he's just been announced as Forbes' most influential person on social media, so we'll definitely be tweeting you this link later. So thank you very much. And we're here at GES, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Malaysia. So I've got a couple of questions for you, Don. Okay, so I heard you speak earlier, and it was really thought-provoking, and I've got a few follow-up questions to support the people within our networks who are really interested in setting up their own enterprises. Okay, so my first question is, in your speech, you talk about the changing world, which is something that Inspire Engage also speaks at length about, that people need to be aware of. What are some of the key changes in the paradigm that we're seeing currently?
Well, there are a number of big drivers that are causing us to rethink just about everything. One is technology, and we have the new social web, mobility, big data, end-to-end, machine computing. And this is a new paradigm in technology that is really creating a global platform for people to collaborate. And it's reaching out into billions and trillions of inert objects in the world that are becoming smart. And it's radically dropping transaction and collaboration costs. A second big one is we have the rise of a new generation of young people. We call them the net generation, the first generation that grow up digital. And these kids are different. And they're different in good ways. All this about, it's their dumbest generation, net addicted, glued to the screen, losing their social skills, a little army of narcissists, and so none of it's true. They're supportive. Right. We've also got the rise of the global economic crisis, which is causing us to change. And I think that fundamentally, if you look around today, what's happening is that there are a whole set of institutions that are in various stages of being stalled or frozen or atrophy or even failing. And these are the institutions of the industrial age. Now it's finally coming to an end. The old model of a corporation, typified by General Motors, America's greatest company, went bankrupt. The old model of the media. The last newspaper in the UK will be published sometime in the year 2030. We've got old models of learning and of science and of government and of democracy and healthcare, and all of them, somebody at the top or something at the top pushes out standardized units to passive recipients. They push out products or radio shows or lectures or newspapers or advertisements or you name it. And now because of the internet, we're moving into a new age of network intelligence where it's not an information age, it's about connecting human crania together to create something that's we've never seen before.
And even in that, it's causing a much more collaborative approaches, isn't it? That's the whole thing, that because of those things, we are moving towards people connecting more, and that is so relevant to business.
Yeah, and, I mean, when people think of collaboration, they think about a bunch of nice people sitting in a room having a nice meeting or something. But no, collaboration can now occur on an astronomical scale. So you take something like, astronomers back in the day used to collaborate, and they exchange papers and so on, come together for astronomers' conferences. Well, now you have something like Galaxy Zoo with 275,000 amateur astronomers working every day to categorize the galaxies. You can have 2 million people write an encyclopedia. You can have what's the dominant computer operating system in the world, Linux, is written by tens of thousands of volunteers you've never met. So this is a time when collaboration is changing everything.
Exactly. What's your advice on entrepreneurs who are thinking about starting a business? How can they best adopt a collaborative model? And obviously that will vary depending on what kind of business they run. But just generally speaking, how can they get the best out of the collaborative shift for the benefit of their businesses?
Well, the good news is that little companies can now have all the capabilities of big companies without the main liabilities. Bureaucracy, legacy culture, systems, people, processes. So talent can be outside our boundaries. So you're a tiny little company. You can have a global marketing department. You can have the best manufacturing facilities in the world. You can have a human resource that extends all around the world. You can have an innovation department that's outside your boundaries. So you're going to create a website. You don't need to do it yourself. You go onto one of these new platforms. You're going to create a marketing campaign. You go to companies that do that. You need business intelligence. You go to partners that will do that, and so on. So the network is really the foundation of your business.
Yeah. So what's the best way of doing that? How do you get that talent? How do you get those? How do you maximize those potential collaborations? Is it just going out? Do you contact people? Is it sometimes a huge investment of time, and is it worth it? What's the kind of the best one? Do you have like an example of a collaboration?
The answer to all of that is it depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to raise money, going to Kickstarter or Indiegogo or something like that makes a lot of sense. They know that you have a whole network of women. My daughter went to INSEAD. She and her best friend won the INSEAD Entrepreneur Competition.
Oh, fantastic.
And for a company called, and they've created this company now, it's called Knixwear, Knix, Wear. And it's reinventing women's underwear. Don't ask. It's like high-tech multitasking underwear. Your underwear should do more. Underwear for the good. And so they did a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, and just as they were getting to their target, one of their biggest potential customers, a massive retailer, discovered them, bought up all their inventory, did a deal with them, and then they were also discovered by all these other platforms too, major magazines and writing articles on them. And that Kickstarter campaign got them going. So, if you're raising money, that's one thing. If you're trying to come up with an innovation, you go to something like InnoCenter. You're looking for a molecule. Well, there are 1.5 million chemists on InnoCenter that can help you find the molecule. You're trying to organize a marketing campaign. You go to all of these platforms that will do that for you. So it depends really what you want to do. My daughter, this underwear is being manufactured in Korea. And the technology came from Korea as well.
Brilliant. You mentioned earlier about the paradigm shift occurring, which you've discussed, and you said that this would cause a disruption to leadership. It causes different kinds of disruption. How can we minimize that negative disruption in order to really kind of have a smooth transition when it comes to leadership? Or is disruption a massively positive and essential thing that we have to go through, and actually the other side of it will be much better than now?
Well, I think it's more of the latter. Like these old industrial age institutions need to be transformed. And typically, a change like this doesn't happen in a smooth way. You have an old industry like the music industry that, rather than taking a business model innovation to respond to a disruption, takes a legal solution to defend the old paradigm. And the industry that brought us Elvis and the Beatles is now suing children. So rather than understanding that the internet was the best thing that ever happened to them, all they had to do was change music from being a product into a service, and they'd be enormously successful and profitable. So, and in every institution you're seeing these disruptions occur. Look at the university. I mean, this has been around for centuries. It's an old model based on the lecture. I'm a teacher, I have knowledge, you're a student, you don't. Get ready, here it comes.
Right.
Well, that's not a good way of learning, especially for young people who've grown up interacting and collaborating. It wasn't bad for me, because I grew up being the passive recipient of everything, TV, of my parents telling me stuff. I went to church, a minister told us stuff. I went into the workforce, I had a boss who told me stuff, but now that's not appropriate. And so we've got these MOOCs, massively online open courses that are disrupting the university, and they're finally causing professors and university officials to think seriously about how are we going to change the whole model of pedagogy in a way that's appropriate for a new age and a new generation of learners.
Actually, I'm so glad you talked about education, because Inspire Engage International, we've recently launched a program called Social Enterprise Revolution, where we're embedding social enterprise into the curriculum in a really innovative way. So students can make a few quid, create a job, doing something good for their community, but it's a part of the traditional education and curriculum.
That's great.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think there are a lot of great things about it, but two that come to mind is that why should education just be about acquiring knowledge? I mean, when you graduate, it's not so much what you know that counts anyway. You know, you're going to reinvent your knowledge base multiple times throughout the next few years. So it's your capacity to think and to solve problems and to build things and to collaborate and to put things in context. So I don't see why every university shouldn't have as a goal that a quarter of all of our students should graduate with a business. Not with a business plan, with an actual business. In high school, why aren't kids building businesses? The other thing I love about that, of course, is social enterprise, because this is a great time that we don't have to rely on governments to do everything. We have these old industrial age governments that are locked into this old model of how we create public value. You know, I'm a government, I have people inside my boundaries, I collect tax revenue from citizens, I create public value or services, and I push them back out to you. You're a passive recipient, I hope you enjoy it. It's like, you know, I'm a company, I produce stuff, I push it out to you, I hope you enjoy it. Well, that model is now being replaced by a model that involves engagement and collaboration. So there's no reason why we can't have a new division of labor in society about how we solve problems. And social enterprises, companies that are, sure, for-profit companies, but that are designed not just to create value, but to create public value, to do good, you know, in addition to doing well. This is the future, and a huge part of our economy and a huge part of what used to be government are going to be social enterprises in the future.
High five for social enterprises. And that program's called Social Enterprise Revolution, so a lot of people in our networks will know about, so it's quite exciting. My final question, as somebody who Forbes has said is the most influential on social media.
Most influential business thinker.
Most influential business thinker, even better, on the social media.
Yeah.
What is your advice for the use of social media for new entrepreneurs?
Well, this is your means of production. You know, it's your way of raising money, of building a business plan, of getting talent, of creating goods and services, of doing innovation, of marketing, of doing a liquidity event. This is a time in human history when you've been handed the most powerful platform ever for wealth creation. Use it, exploit it. Get with the program. You know, use the technology yourself. Personal use.
What's your favorite social media platform?
I have to say, I'm really enjoying Twitter a lot right now. Twitter's my newspaper. I wrote my last book in part on Twitter, asking people for stuff. Twitter is my way of getting ideas out there initially. I've been tweeting from this event a bit. Although the internet is not
very good.
what it should be. Weird. Well, we'll set that one aside. But I love everything. I use everything that I can possibly get my hands on.
Absolutely, and that is really a powerful thing. You know, businesses, they teach people, do advertising, print flyers. Who prints flyers anymore? And it's all about, if you want to mobilize people tomorrow, you want to get, 10,000 people show up somewhere, it's the only way is through social media. So brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much. I will leave you with some Inspire Engage stuff and the Social Enterprise Revolution, and hope you guys have found the interview useful. And stay connected. You can follow Don on Twitter.
I'm at Tapscott.
At Tapscott. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.